Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Can everybody hear me? Well, thank you very much for coming out today. This is such a big day for the city and the Port of San Francisco. It is a milestone day for a lot of reasons, which you'll get to hear about ad nauseum. And first and foremost, I want to welcome you to the back of Pier 27. It isn't at the moment a place where many people of the public come, but as a result of the America's Cup and as a result of the new cruise ship terminal, we hope to see thousands and thousands of people back here for all sorts of things, from mild recreation to weddings and other great activities. And so we are very proud to once again be leading the forefront with projects which are in a highly urbanized city right across the street from housing and business center, and yet still finding a way to do the quintessential multi-faceted project. And we cannot have done so without a whole host of partners, many of whom are behind me here today, many of whom are going to speak, and so I will introduce them shortly. But as I look out into the crowd, I think every other person has played a role in this day in some fashion, and I just want you to know from the bottom of my heart and the hearts of all of us at the Port of San Francisco and the future generations, thank you so very much. And so, thank you. You can clap. You can dance too. All right, so it is my honor to introduce our first speaker. This is a man who was raised in a waterfront city, the city of Seattle, went to college in a waterfront state, the state of Maine, and came here to the Great Bay of San Francisco to get law. Stop saying that. They're heckling me already, and I'm introducing the most important man in our city. How can that be? He got his degree across the bay at Cal Berkeley and then came over here and has had an illustrious career in San Francisco, all of which has prepared him for this day when we are going to be celebrating the world's largest, most elite sailing race and the best cruise ship terminal to be built in the world, because that's our pledge. And so I want to introduce you to our very own Mayor Ed Lee.
Thank you, Monique. Wonderful. I first of all want to welcome everybody here to Pier 27 and 29. As you know, as a former director of public works, I get excited when we actually start really work. Even though planning and organizing and fundraising have been the mantra for the last couple of years with America's Cup. But this is really, to me, an exciting part of the kickoff where you see labor people, contractors, public works, all beginning to see real stuff getting done so that we're no longer talking about the promises that have been made. We're actually into implementing them. And that's what I like to see. And I've always said, I like to get stuff done. And this is where it really gets done. But the excitement has to also and always appreciate how we got here. And so, last year, throughout the year as interim mayor, I really was focused on getting things started so much with America's Cup that I really didn't think about the day that we would actually start turning the spade here. And it's really refreshing to do that. But we got here because there's great people working on the event authority, the organizing committee, with Mark Buell's leadership there, with Carrie McClellan. I see her out here as well, and their efforts to really draw the vision for what we're going to do here that will bring in over $1 billion of economic impact. That starts right here, right now. This project itself will reflect some 600 workers start living here. It's a $92 million project to demolish and to rebuild on the James Herman International Cruise Ship Terminal, something that we really look forward to. And you can only see what's here in the rendition because it doesn't look like a terminal yet. But I think the excitement about that vision is going to become more and more reality as Turner works very hard as they start implementing the 20% local hire goals on here, the very high percentage of local businesses that they're involving, along with their great company and their work ethic. They're going to get this project done on time, and we look forward to opening up a cruise ship terminal, as well as the Northeast Wharf Plaza, two legacies that were promised to everybody in the city, including the Telegraph Hill Dwellers, who I know that are here, along with many others who participated in the very transparent, very involved, very long EIR process, but one that was guided with a lot of thought about our planning department working with the port. I want to thank the port and its new president, the Port Commission, Doreen Wu Ho, who's here today to help with the whole Port Commission to involve themselves. Public Works is here with their engineers and their staff working alongside Turner to make sure this construction project is done. I also want to thank David Chu, the board president, for guiding the EIR and the process and the appeal process through the Board of Supervisors. It's often been said that the whole EIR process was miraculously done with the Planning Commission, but we also needed to take care of everybody's input. And I think that Supervisor Chu, Board President Chu, will agree with me that today's EIR and all the things that it's reflective and taken care of is 10 times better than we first started because of that input. And I have to appreciate that. I'm not a planner in fact, I was always been a very impatient person when it comes to planning, because I always ask my DPW staff, why does it take so long to plan this stuff? I want to dig that hole in the ground. I want to get the streets paved. Mohammed being one of those people that really had to hear me out. But we have to respect this because this is a world-class international event we're hosting, but it is also important legacies that we're establishing with the cruise ship terminal and the open plaza, the really huge amount of 2.5 acres more of open space that will be publicly accessible as another part of this important legacy. We have a lot of things to look forward to on this project. I'm excited about it. But I also want to thank everybody that's been involved so far. They will always be thanked. Labor, ILWU, to be thanked because they actually were sharing with us the vision that our piers could also be reestablished and not be abandoned for so many years. We had all those years where the longshoremen workers who said, well, wait a minute, what about our waterfront? How are we going to revitalize that? Well, we're using this fantastic opportunity that the America's Cup is providing us, thanking them and all their opportunities, but then also taking the reality that let's revitalize our port. Let's give it the foundation that it deserves. Let's honor James Herman and what he did with the union and the union leadership here for many, many decades. Let's honor the current people that are part of our ILWU by doing this with them. And so I want to thank them. I also want to thank the existing tenants that have been on this port for many years, helping with our economy. That's Gary Bauer, who I know might be around here today, and Bauer Intelligent Transport, along with Teatro Sanzani's, both of whom we had personal opportunities to work together with the port staff and realty division to help relocate them in a very comfortable way. But they've been invaluable business partners with the city. Exciting attributes to our SF travel and our tourism. And again, they're going to be part of the port itself on an ongoing long-term basis, increasing our tourism. And when those cruise ships come over here on an international status and start making this a really active port again, you're going to see a lot of happy faces. Not only tourism in town, the neighborhoods benefit from the wharf area to Chinatown, the North Beach, to all over the city, to even South Market and the Hunters Point. They're all going to be benefiting from this very good maritime experience. You're going to see the greenest cruise ship port ever designed because we're putting a lot of effort in the great design of this cruise ship terminal. But again, America's Cup is to be thanked. This world-class event starts this year with the Louis Vuitton. The World Series is this year. I'm getting ahead. Yep. I like the word Louis Vuitton. My wife says that all the time. Keeps repeating that to me. I want the Louis Vuitton this and the Louis Vuitton that. And the World Series starts this year, but the excitement of this race, again, is worth repeating for everybody here. There's going to be so much benefit out of this. The economic impact is one, but just to host this fantastic race, it continues to marvel me how we're so lucky to to have landed this, and I'm not going to squander that opportunity. We're going to use it in every single way to not only celebrate the greatness of the San Francisco as a city, the Bay Area, the state, our country, because it is an international sporting event. So hopefully with that, I've explained everything I'm supposed to do, Monique, except to unveil the thrill I think that the whole city team has in sharing the opportunity to work together, to collaborate in every way possible. And I'll make sure that we continue that collaboration with the board and with all the other financial institutions, the private sector that's got to be involved with the public sector to get this stuff done the right way. So again, thank you very much for everyone showing up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for all of your energy and your support and jumping right into this as soon as you got here. And most importantly, thank you for recognizing the men and the women that work this waterfront and have for almost now 150 years. And so it is such an honor to be here with you today and to know that not only will we start, but we will finish. And thank you for that. Next, I get to introduce another waterfront guy. Yes. He doesn't know who he is, but I'll tell you. This gentleman grew up in Boston, a great waterfront city, not yet as great as ours, but working hard at it. He went to Harvard and did everything, got his BA, got his MPA, got his JD, and then he founded something called the Grassroots Enterprise, and that is so fitting for our project here today because this project has been decades in the making. Decades to having the America's Cup back in the United States, decades to having a new cruise ship terminal at the Port of San Francisco, and it's gotten done because young people, old people, middle people, individuals have come together, and it's exactly that kind of leadership that got him elected to be the District 3 supervisor and now the president of the Board of Supervisors, and without his support, we would not be here as happy as we are today, and we would not be able to deliver such a great project for his district and for his neighborhood. And so please join me in welcoming President of the Board of Supervisors, David Chu.
Thank you. Good morning. As I look upon all of you, I just want to congratulate all of us for coming together in the way that a great crew does on a ship. Everyone played such pivotal roles in what we needed to do, starting, of course, with our mayor and the direction that you set with your city departments, and many folks have been thanked, but I want to add my grateful thanks to everyone within the planning department and particularly within the port who helped to work with us at the Board of Supervisors. I'm very proud of my colleagues at the board. We moved forward along with the rest of the city in record time, all the approvals that we needed to make. We still have some work to do, but I look forward to all of that getting done very quickly. And of course, I want to take a moment to thank the men and women behind me. I have to admit that when I first came into office, I privately thought to myself, what is the future of labor along the waterfront? How are we going to reinvent the work that we do here? Well, we have some answers, and I look forward to the work that all of you are going to be doing, ILWU, the men and women of labor who have really been part of making San Francisco the very special port town that we have been for over a century. Before the America's Cup was just a blip on the horizon, we had many visions about what we wanted to do here on Pier 27. We wanted to turn this pier, Piers 27 to 29, into a destination for the world, to bring in millions and millions of tourists to see the city that we see every single day. And it's amazing to be here for the groundbreaking, for what will be, I think, the most amazing cruise ship terminal, not just on the West Coast, but hopefully in the world. And I want to thank all of you for being part of that vision. I know that my colleagues and I, we supported this project not just because of the events that we're going to win in 2013, but we supported this project because we are looking to create a legacy. We want to build a 21st century waterfront. We want to make sure that we are leaving a place here in San Francisco that is better than what we left it. And that is what today is about. That's what this groundbreaking is about. Thank you so much for being part of that. Congratulations.
Thank you, Supervisor. It's been a wonderful experience for all of us to work with you, and we look forward to being back here for many celebrations in your district. So thank you again. Our next speaker is a seasoned executive with 35 years of financial services experience, which makes her perfect to be here helping out with these immense projects. She's been in finance with everything from consumer to retail to small business corporate finance. Once upon a time, she was a correspondent for Time Magazine and CBS Radio News in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, and she speaks Mandarin and Chinese, and most recently, she is the president of the Port Commission. Please welcome Doreen Wu Ho.
Thank you, Monique, and Mr. Mayor, President David Chu. I'm very pleased to be here. My association with the port is relatively short. It started in 2010. I've learned a great deal since I've been here, and it's just an amazing experience because this port, as I'm learning, is such a vital asset for the city and community of San Francisco, and I'm very, very pleased and proud to be part of all the exciting developments that are going forward. And one of the things that I learned in my briefings is that while we are not a traditional port, we don't move things, we move people. And we move more people than any other port. So that's an exciting, and this today is really exciting in terms of this is another milestone in our movement of people with the establishment of this cruise terminal in San Francisco. I also want to acknowledge my other commissioner here, Leslie Katz, because we do work very well as a commission. I just say one thing, we have a female executive director, and we only have one male commissioner. So, you know, give us a lot of credit. But I want to say that this is exciting for all of us in terms of the fact that the commission is basically, you know, very excited to work on this. So it's a great day that we're finally here, and while I wasn't here from the efforts that started in 1998, this is the fourth attempt to build a cruise terminal, and this time it's going to succeed, which is very, very exciting. I want to give credit to the staff of the port who have not ever given up, and to Monique and her staff, that they never gave up on the idea that this vision could become a reality, and have worked with so many people to make it happen. And you heard from the mayor and from President David Chu about the vision that we have for the waterfront, so I'm not going to go through that in terms of what the cruise terminal will do in terms of for the benefits for the city or for the waterfront and for our labor and our jobs and everything in San Francisco, as well as the wonderful open space that the Northeast Wharf Plaza will. But my job here today is to, while everybody has acknowledged, I'm here to formally acknowledge on behalf of the Port Commission all the people that have been involved in making today possible. First of all, of course, our mayor, Ed Lee, the Board of Supervisors, and President David Chu, and my fellow commissioners on the port for their ongoing support, as well as the planning department and the Rec and Park and others that have been involved in this whole EIR process. I also want to really especially acknowledge Monique Moyer as the executive director of the port and her senior staff that have actively advocated the development of this project. And having learned the history, it's been just amazing to hear how, after so many decades, that we finally are here. There also was the Cruise Terminal Advisory Panel led by former Port Commissioner Frankie Lee that recommended a publicly funded cruise terminal project at Pier 27. Is Frankie here? Okay, all right. We also want to acknowledge our close cooperation with the Bay's Conservation and Development Commission, fondly known as BCDC, for this needed improvement. The Cruise Terminal Designing Steering Committee, the Port Waterfront Design Advisory Committee, BCDC's Design Review Board that provided design input, the Port's Northeast Wharf Advisory Group that also provided community support for this project, the Department of Public Works that is represented here today by Edgar Lopez and Cindy Maggio, the joint design team of the KMD architects, Fao Long Architecture and Barmello Ajamil, for managing the wide number of subconsultants who have contributed to this project, including Dan Lamb, Peter Fao, Jeff Galbraith, and Jim Rao. The Turner Construction Company and their long list of subcontractors who will ultimately construct this project, Victor Perry and Tina Smith, and finally the Port Cruise Terminal Project Team, Kim Von Blon, John Dahl, Dan Hodup, who I just think is in the back there, and John Davey, and finally the Metro Services and the International Longshore and Warehouse Union workers who keep this terminal working smoothly and welcoming new and old visitors to the city. I'm sure there's a few more that Monique will acknowledge if I have missed anybody in the list, but we want to formally acknowledge and thank all of our partners that have made this day possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President, and that was a long list, but it has taken a whole community to get this done. And so if I may pause for a moment and ask all of you that have had something to do with this project, be you port staff, on our community advisory groups, on our architectural or engineering or construction teams, and of course, all of you who work this great pier, please raise your hand and be recognized. Come on, all of you. Thank you again so much. Our next speaker is a fascinating guy, a local guy who's finally come home. He's a graduate of UC Davis, where he played baseball and varsity football. And I mention that because when you see him, I want you to remember he played varsity football. He is heavy into sports marketing. He started out as the chief of special events for TEAM Marketing, and then the COO of Ovation Sports, and then the co-founder of Mind Spring. He is now the chief operating officer of the America's Cup Event Authority, and his mandate is to employ sports marketing and know-how of the America's Cup, this great sailing race, to bring attention to the oceans of the world. And what better place to do it than here in the Bay, where for the last 40 years we have all worked hard to bring environmental protectionism, education, and restoration to our bay, and it is a perfect location for the world's best sailing race. Please help me in welcoming Tom Houston, COO, America's Cup Event Authority. He played football.
That was a long, long time ago. We are extremely happy and proud to be here today. I've heard that this project is, but just found out this morning, almost 20 years in the making, and we're very proud of the fact that the America's Cup has been the catalyst necessary to help get this project over the hump and finally to a point of being able to become a real project. So we're very pleased and very excited for everybody that's been involved in that process, and we share in your joy and congratulate you on this great success. This is the first visible sign of the economic impact that the America's Cup is going to be bringing to the Greater Bay Area. This is the first of many that we'll see going forward in the near future. As the mayor referenced earlier, this is one of the real benefits of hosting a major international sporting event, is it helps enable these type of legacy projects to really get off the ground. I'd like to thank our partners at the city, and in particular the planning department, for their tremendous stewardship over the long EIR process that we're nearing completion on. It's been a tremendous team effort to get to where we are today, so thank you for that. I'd also like to point out that we are all very committed as a team to making this the most spectacular event that anyone has ever seen, in particular for this area in this city. People don't realize that in 2013, there are no other major international sporting events taking place anywhere in the world. All eyes will be here on San Francisco. The Olympics and the World Cup are in off seasons, and the America's Cup is right there. So the eyes of the planet will be really on San Francisco and on the work that we're able to achieve together over the next 18 months. We'd like to thank, as well as through this process, Mayor Lee and his staff, all of our partners at the city, the Board of Supervisors, the port, and of course, last but certainly not least, our America's Cup Organizing Committee partners, and for the teamwork and partnership that we continue to share with them on a daily basis to make this a reality. And basically, with that said, we really look forward to the next phase of the process. We have 18 months to go, and thank you everyone for allowing this to be a wonderful location for our event. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom, so much. We are so honored to welcome you and to look forward to having those vessels running by here quickly in a very short 6 months. So here we go. Our next guy is a local guy, a graduate of the University of San Francisco. He's a Vietnam veteran. He was the first director of the city's Economic Development Department and a member of the California Association of Local Economic Development, making him perfect for this project. He is the chair of everything, as far as I can tell. He is the chair of the Recreation and Park Commission, the Golden Gate National Parks Conservancy, the San Francisco Conservation Corps, the Chez Panisse Foundation, and as I open up SF Gate every morning, apparently he is an advocate for art as an investment on behalf of the Art Academy University. And he was heckling me earlier, so I might share a few more things. Currently, he is the volunteer chair of the America's Cup Organizing Committee and our partner in this fabulous event for which we will all be eternally grateful. Please join me in welcoming our local guy, Mark Buell.
Thank you very much. let me say that there is an old saying, victory has many parents and defeat is an orphan. And the many parents of this victory are here today. Let me start by saying that when I got involved in the negotiating side of trying to get the cup here, Gavin Newsom could not have been a better advocate for this, so I don't want to pass this opportunity to thank him. Mayor Lee is the best thing that ever happened to San Francisco, and we're delighted with the leadership that he's providing us. David Chu steered this through the Board of Supervisors. Now, we did strike a deal that I'd raise the money to pay for what otherwise would be taxpayer money, so we got a unanimous vote out of the board. But I want to thank David for everything he did. It was very important. I think when cities employees get a bum rap that you know, how hard did they work, I've never seen a group of more professional people put this bid together and then get us through this process. The port, under Monique's leadership, the planning department, the mayor's office, Mike Martin, I don't know if Mike's here today or not, but he's been doing a terrific job. Curie McClellan, who I stole away from the city, and she's our chief executive officer. So the city should be very proud of the team. Now, why are we doing all this? The analysis is that it's going to bring $1.2 billion to the economy of San Francisco, over 8,000 jobs, and it's going to give us a world-class opportunity to show off the city, Crissy Field, the Golden Gate Bridge, Alcatraz, Angel Island, you name it. So having said that, you can imagine it's never been seen from the shore before since its beginnings over 150 years ago, and this is the first time there'll be a Bay Area-wide event that has to be coordinated. So with that, I want to acknowledge Captain Stowe of the Coast Guard because they're doing a heck of a job for us. Captain, somewhere here, thank you for being here today. We were in Washington, D.C. with the mayor 2 weeks ago. Nancy Pelosi was there. We were celebrating that we needed an act of Congress in order to make this happen, to clear some rules so that they could bring these boats in and out. The mayor was there, Nancy, and representatives from Dianne Feinstein's office and Barbara Boxer. So it takes a village. We're going to make it happen. But we have the job of raising the money to make it happen, and nothing will incentivize sponsors for Tom Houston's group or donors for our group than to see the visuals that you're about to see when I shut up, and that's to start to knock this thing down, and we will move from a promise to a reality. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our last speaker is a very patient man and a native son of San Francisco, a graduate of Balboa High School. He is a second-generation longshoreman. In his 20 years, he's handled every type of cargo, including passengers, which we are very proud of. He is the newly elected president of the International Longshore Warehouse Union's Local 10. Please welcome Mike Villigante.
Hello. I just wanted to thank Mayor Lee, the Port Commission, Port Directors, Board of Supervisors. It is an honor to stand here today with you to honor our second International President, Jimmy Herman. We thank you for your leadership and the hard work that has moved us at last, to start the construction. So I just wanted to thank you for that. We waited for 20 years to get this going. I also wanted to thank the staff and behind the scenes people that have helped to progress this. You know, the office staff, everybody has moved this. Jimmy was a seaman and a cook on cruise ships. He came ashore and he became a Local 34 clerk. When the legendary Harry Bridges retired in 1977, Jimmy became the international president, only the second international president of our association. He served for 14 years, and then he became a port commissioner for 15 years. And I heard a comment earlier about ladies on the port commissioner. Maybe we can have an ILWU member on that port commission again. Jimmy was passionate about preserving maritime jobs for the working men and women of the waterfront. Jimmy was a visionary. He understood the future jobs potential of the cruise ship terminal that would create more jobs for the men and women of the ILWU. Today there's 4 locals, Local 34, Local 10, Local 91, and Local 75 that work these terminals. With the completion of this terminal, which is coming, the boom for our city cruise ship business will continue. And this means more jobs, more good-paying jobs, Mayor Lee, good-paying jobs for the community of San Francisco and the Bay Area. We need this first-class terminal, named after our past international president, for a first-class city to show off what we have to offer to the world. Thank you very much for naming the terminal under for Brother Herman. Solidarity to all. An injury to one is an injury to all. And long live the Jimmy Herman Cruise Ship Terminal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you know from my remarks, I have emphasized the fact that there are a bunch of people working on this project who are both local and water affiliates and aficionados, and that is what this project needed, and that is why this project will be inviting you all back to the completion date. But now, Mr. Mayor, at long last, it is time.
Well, on behalf of the city, the port, America's Cup, and all the communities and our labor union, in DPW parlance, let it rip.
Hey, Monique.